How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast, the Game Week 38 review, otherwise known as the 23-24 season review. The season's done, and as expected before the match on the weekend against Everton, we have finished second, people. And yeah, the regulars back in the building. James, Lee, Jordan. Yeah, there's a deflated feeling amongst us, obviously. Long season, at times looking great, ends with nothing. But that's what we're here to talk about. So hit the like button, show some love, comment of the day, do all of that, people. Um, and yeah, we move into a period where we watch United City fight off in the FA Cup final, Champions League final, no English teams participating, and then it's the transfer window. So on this show, maybe we'll have one eye on the window and maybe what we need to strengthen. So make sure you hear comments and all that. Jordan, James, Lee, who was at the game. Let's start there. I mean, the atmosphere at the beginning of the game was mental. Yeah,
Unbelievable. I've never been in a stadium like that. It was just, I don't know, mind blowing. Like, it was really fantastic. Do you know what? Privileged to be in there. Absolute privilege to be in here yesterday. And I'm not going to say that us fans deserve better because we've been fantastic this season. But I think the pressure is a little bit on Arsenal now to make sure that we start winning some trophies now. With this team, it's that good. If City do slip up, we need to be the one taking their pieces, their crumbs, if you like, because I look at this team. I was talking to my mate Tony on the train on the way home, and it's true what we were saying. This is the best team since the Invincibles, the best team that he's seen since he was 17 watching Arsenal. And I agree, I had to sit there and agree with him. He's a fantastic football team. We've got a vibrant manager that's don't take no prisoners. He's ruthless in what he does. But now we've got to make sure that we start winning some trophies because we've got some fantastic players. But we're not quite there yet as far as world class players. They're all potentially there. You know, Saka, Saliba, in particular, are fantastic footballers, but they're still learning their trade. They're still not fully developed into what they should be. So I think it's going to be. I still say it. It's going to be exciting times at the Arsenal. I've really enjoyed this season. It's been a fantastic watch, going up and down. But I do think there's more to come from this team, better things to come. And I think a couple of tweaks in the summer and we'll go again. And I like what Mikel said yesterday on his speech, let's not be satisfied. And I think that's quite correct. I'm not satisfied. I said to myself, and I said on the thread, I've made my peace with it all. I knew that we weren't going to, sat down on my seat. I said they'd score within a minute before I sat on my seat. I was joking when I said that City, but they did. And I wanted to enjoy the game, but I didn't. It was a funny situation. The one regret I had yesterday walking out the stadium is that you never knew. We'd never put no pressure on City with the performance yesterday at Everton. We struggled for again, probably a learning curve, struggling with the emotions of what was going on and everything like that. But if we'd have put the pressure on, could have they cracked it 2-1? I don't know. But listen, we've gone toe to toe with them in the last few games. Their last points that they dropped was against us. It's an unbelievable what you're up against. And realistically, we only just dropped one result all season. All year. And it is hard to take that. I'll be honest. I know exactly how Liverpool feel now, but the emotions are disappointed, gutted. I found it very hard to sleep last night because of what happened. But I've woke up this morning and as gutted as I am, I'm proud of what we've got, and I'm excited for next season as well, guys. I really am. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think the match the way City won the last, we could have probably applied a bit of pressure ourselves, but someone letting down their tires or something.
I was going to say.
Definitely Jordan, man. What's just no?
What? Blame it on me.
Dirty though. You look at your face.
What was that?
I have no idea. I don't think it was me.
My mic was muted. That was funny. Try again, Turkish.
Yeah, where was he? I mean, when City scored, there was a feeling of deflation in the stadium. Still, the atmosphere is rocking. But nah, what the fuck was that? Seriously, it must be Lee, man, because you got that snooker.
I think it was Lee. I think it was.
Oh
Lee.
yeah, go on, blame me. Like, I had nothing to do with me. Like, you know, as far as technology is concerned, I wouldn't know how to let down the tires. There you go. Like,
Right, yeah, when City scored and went 1-0 up so early, yeah, you could feel it in the stadium. The Kudus goal gave it some life, but I had the match on. Obviously, I was in the box. I had the City match on as well. The second half, they just completely suffocated West Ham. Didn't give West Ham a sniff, and the early goal in the second half, making it 3-1. I mean, even the way the goal went in, there was no point worrying about that. But listen, Lee, what Arteta said, that's something I emphasized on last year as well. Both Odegaard and Arteta, I said, they both not resting on their laurels. Now that there's a lot of pressure on Mikel, and rightly so. He manages Arsenal, and we're going into now his 5th season now without a trophy since the FA Cup. So rightly so. But you know, one thing that I need my manager to be saying is the same thing that I'm hearing these people say that don't seem to like him, that want to put the pressure on him, that we can't be satisfied with this. They're in agreement there. We are in agreement there. There's nothing to be satisfied with yet, because there should be more to come. From what we've seen, there is more to come, because this team, the quality we've shown, it needs to be capped off with trophies. So I like that it's coming from the manager. I like that Odegaard's, you know, you could see he was visibly upset. You know, you could see that he put in a lot of effort. You could tell mentally it was tiring. But his message again, we're going to take a break and come back. You know, these are the right things that need to be said. There's no, you know what, well done, great season. The tone was perfect for me, both at the end of last season and at the end of this season, because there is nothing to celebrate. You know, we can talk about the good times. We've definitely enjoyed this season a hell of a lot more than maybe the last 10 before that. But, you know, it does need to start yielding trophies. And if the main man is saying that himself, the 10 minutes after the last game of a long season where you've won the most games in a season for Arsenal Football Club in the Premier League era, I think we're in good hands. That's why I'm pretty confident about next season, and I've put my neck on the line and said I think we will win the league next season, mainly because of him. You know, he's brought us a team that's challenged now to the last day of the season, after challenging last season when no one expected it. Now he's telling us this ain't it, and he's been consistent with that message from the beginning. He said earlier, this team needs to be winning Premier Leagues, and he said that when we were 7th, 8th, 6th, 5th. So now we're 2nd. He ain't saying anything different. He ain't dwelling on the come up. He ain't dwelling on, look how far we've come in 3 years. He's more focusing on what should be coming next. So even if you're not a fan of Mikel, I think you've got to applaud that, because if you're not a fan of Mikel, that tends to be the rhetoric. He needs to win. He said he needs to win. Arsenal should be winning majors. He said Arsenal should be winning majors. So as long as your manager is saying these things, yes, next season's massive because it's the 5th one. It's a good place to be in, I think, because it didn't end in a trophy. So this team and this season won't be compared to 03, 04, 01, 02, 97, 98, or other seasons gone past that Lee and maybe Jordan might have seen us winning the title. But Lee's right. You can be proud of Arsenal being back to where we should be. You can be proud of supporting a football team that you know next season will go again. That the aim is to win the major, the Premier League. In the Emirates era, every season bar this season gone, the expectation wasn't the Premier League. Every season. This is the first season ever the expectation was to win the Premier League in the Emirates era. First season ever. Because
I'll
no one
go into next season expecting it.
Pardon?
I will go into next season.
Yeah, expecting it. Yeah,
expecting us to win the title.
Yeah, and that's credit to the guy that told us when he was finishing eighth, when he was finishing fifth, that this is nothing. This team needs to be winning majors. Now we're here on the cusp of it. He's still saying, "Don't be satisfied." So I'm happy with him. I'm happy with that.
And I thought that was a good message from Josh Kroenke as well that came out before the game. I think there were some quotes from him saying basically the same thing, like we're not going to sit still. We're not sort of satisfied with where we are, which I think was almost a good thing to sort of say now. I think it's very easy for that to come out in a few days' time as we enter the transfer window and we know it's not done. Let's get some quotes out. Transfer window's coming out. Before the game, there was like I think the quote was literally something like, "Whatever happens today, we're not sitting still." So I think that's good that the important people at the club are really pushing that message from your captain to your manager to your owner. So great. I think everyone's aligned. Everyone's disappointed, but aligned in what we all want to do next season.
Yeah, the tone was disappointment, and that's what the tone should be. That's why it's a balance. As a fan, as a fan, I think we're at a stage now where we don't have to be. It's weird because it's a content creating scene now, so it's different. But I feel like we're at a place where we can now ride the roller coaster, ride the wave, and enjoy it. It's a roller coaster we're queuing up for. It's a roller coaster. Maybe it's the biggest queue in the park, but it's the big one. We're there now. So I just feel like there's no point delving into things as much as we used to have to, because the club was in disarray from top to bottom. So we used to have to work the need to work out why, whether it's me looking at the Kroenkes and Vinay and the finances and the wages and the contract, or whether it's others looking at Wenger and then Emery and then the Mikel Arteta. We've had to. But I think now, part of being a football fan is not worrying about who the fuck the owner is and how much you have to spend. Part of being a football fan is just knowing your club is about its business. I grew up knowing Arsenal were about its business at a certain point, and that's just the confidence you need. We don't need to delve into every nook and cranny of the club if the club's doing what the club should be doing. Fans are just there to love, enjoy, and support and hope that silverware comes over the line. Yes, we haven't been able to do that as much as we probably should have and would have liked in the Emirates era. But I think that's where I'm at now anyway. That's why even when you said Josh Kroenke, I don't have a clue what he said. And I've come a long way not to know what Josh Kroenke said, because before he was on my alerts, my notifications would let me know when that guy's saying something. But I'm not too interested anymore. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Let me see what I'm seeing on the pitch, and I'm happy. Transfer window time. It's your time, Josh, Stan, Mikel Edu. Build like you've been building, and like Lee said, Premier League title next season.
The exact quote is, "While we are undoubtedly proud of the progress we've made, I want to be clear that no one at the club will stand still. However things finish today, we're all working behind the scenes to move us forward again. There is so much that we want to achieve."
Yeah, I mean, we've come
It's,
along.
it's not the greatest quote of all time, but it's just well timed, the right message, come from the right person. Yeah, and from people that we're accused of not hearing from, rightly so. Now, like you said,
I think if he said be excited now, it would land so much better than it did 2019. If he came out now and said be excited, it would land so much better.
And then Pepe arrives.
Can I just say something before Jordan comes on? Inappropriate wearing a sky blue shirt, by the way. You know what I mean?
It's grey, isn't it?
It's grey, knob.
Is it?
This guy sending shots and he's not even right.
The James one looks very grey down to me,
That's true, actually.
This is white.
It looks like blue to me.
It's a $2.99 Primark grey t-shirt. It does
have a tinge of blue, though. It has got a.
What are you on about? Anyway,
I don't know. Maybe mine as well.
Jordan, now he's just making things up just to get at you.
Just anything just have a shot at me. But it's fine.
How are you showing up in a Man City kit? What's wrong with you?
How dare you?
You go to their parade for Channel 4, are you?
I didn't go in the end. Actually, I managed to pull rank, and I said no.
Brilliant.
The Fourever Arsenal boys are going to have me for dinner if I told them I've gone to the city parades. I can't do it. I can't do it.
I saw you in the pitch invasion.
Yeah, to drag me off. I do want to come back in a second to the expectations of next season's kind of quote from you guys, just in a second. But just on the game, I don't think we haven't got to do a deep dive into the game itself, I don't think. But there was one thing that I wanted to mention regarding the game yesterday, and it was that we didn't play well yesterday, but that to a degree is all right. But if we had not won that game yesterday, I would have been a very, very angry Arsenal fan on the pod this morning, because whilst it was immaterial what we did anyway, because City won the game, I do think it was important that we did win that game yesterday, not only because we wanted to have the hope of, if up north something happens in our favour, we can capitalise, but also just because I think it was important that we just handled our business and just won our game and just showed that we can take it all the way. I think we can't say we took it all the way if we drew yesterday. We took it to the last game, but we didn't take it to the end of the last game. Whereas now, because we won the game, we can say we literally took it all the way, right? We pushed them all the way to the 90th minute, did what we could within reason. Our winner's not a goal, by the way. It's a clear handball. Let's not. We haven't got to go into it. It's a clear handball. We got lucky there, but whatever. We won the game and we move. But I do want to go back to the expectation thing about the Turkish and Liebe saying, because I disagree. I don't actually expect Arsenal next season to win the title. Let me tell you why. It's not about having a loser mentality. It's more about the fact that expectation is if we're looking at its definition of the word, I think comes with a level of there has to be a level of what's the word? I expect to be paid at the end of the month because I've done my work. I
get what you're saying. It's like a guarantee, isn't it?
It's like a guarantee.
It's like there is no reason why this shouldn't happen.
That's what I'm trying to say in a very haphazard way. At the point of recording, we don't have the best manager in the league. At the point of recording, we don't have the best squad in the league. At the point of recording, we don't have the recent history of winning Premier League titles and getting over the line. So I don't expect next season, if all is as it is now in 3 months' time, starting game week 1, the expectation is that City win the Premier League. My expectation is that we push them all the way again. We put ourselves in a position whereby we can more than compete and be in a position whereby we can win the title. But I think, and maybe it's just I'm playing with words again here. I'm a journalist. Maybe it's just semantics here, right? But I think
I actually get you.
Expecting to win the league, I don't think is a fair target to put on Mikel Arteta because of those 3 metrics. There's a better manager in the league than him. There's a better squad at the moment in the league than him, and there's a team that have won 4 titles in a row. So as a neutral, the expectation should be that City win the title. And don't get it twisted. Rival fans, they did it this year, are going to say, oh, this year Arsenal got to win the title. I really hate that narrative because it's fueled with agenda-based rhetoric that I'm just not interested in. Oh, you spent how much money? You've got to do X, Y, Z. This year you've got to do it. Shut up, man. Just be quiet. The expectation for Arsenal, for me, is that we compete, we play good football, and we go up another level. And if it so happens that another level still isn't good enough, we can debrief this in 12 months' time. But for me, the expectation isn't that we win the league. The expectation is that we compete again because we've got no divine right. Expectation, I think, links a little bit to feeling a level of entitlement that we should win the title. And I don't think that is where I'm at anyway.
I get what you're saying, but as a fan, the last 2 years, like to go back 2 years ago, I didn't expect us to win the league. I didn't even expect us to compete, and we did.
Mm-hmm.
Last season, this season, I again expect us to compete, and we have done. So they've not let me down. When I say I expect, but this season, I'm going into next season thinking that we will win it. I don't think I've been convinced in the last couple of years that we've really got it. But because of the way we've challenged this season, because of the way we've ended it, I expect. I don't think that's a bad thing to say. I think it's a good thing for me to go right. I'm disappointed. I come out of that ground yesterday disappointed that we've not won the league. You know, that's what this manager and this team's done for me. Now I want it. You've dangled a little Premier League trophy like it was in the stadium yesterday, and I want it now. I honestly didn't believe for 2 years that we would ever win it. I really, these 2 years, but now after what I've seen in the running, the way we've gone about it, what we've done yesterday, the atmosphere in that ground, I want it, boys. And I've got a feeling that he's going to deliver it, and that's how I feel.
I think a fair pressure to put on Mikel Arteta is we expect a trophy next season. I think that is a fair expectation to put on the manager. Next season, if an Arsenal fan said to me, I expect a trophy next season, I think that's fair. I think that is accurate because he's won one trophy in 4.5 years. That's not good enough. His cup record, we've discussed it, we'll do it again, I'm sure, is horrendous. So I think it's not unfair as an Arsenal fan to say this time next year, we have to have lifted something. And again, I know Turkish talks about majors, right? We're at the level now whereby it's Prems or Champions Leagues. Okay, I get that. But I think if we finish second in the Premier League and won a cup double, would take that. Even an FA Cup, that wouldn't be the worst season for me. So, but I think to say we expect a Prem, I just think is I think that's an unfair expectation in my view.
I think that's where I am on the trophy thing, because it's like you said, a lot of people expected Arsenal in the way that we were talking about, expected Arsenal to win it this year. And you think, again, like you mentioned, with the manager they've got, the players they've got, they spend more than us, actually, which people seem to forget last summer. Okay, not by much, but they did. And they won the treble. A lot of people also thought City would win it, and they did. But it's where it goes back to, like, where me in particular, I showed a lot of disappointment for going out the Cups. And a lot of people, and I remember at the time, a lot of the kind of really, really positive Arsenal fans, which is fine, it's good to be positive, were saying, come on, there's almost a bigger fish to fry thing. There's kind of bigger things to go for. It's like, okay, but sort of all our hopes were on suddenly winning a competition in the Champions League that we haven't won in our history, and then winning a Premier League title we haven't won in 20 years. Man City aren't winning quadruples every season. They're brilliant, they're sweeping up a lot of trophies, but they don't win the quadruple every single year. So there's something up for grabs somewhere, and there are other competitions. And silverware, okay, there is a ranking of how much you appreciate each one and which one's bigger than the other, whatever. But it's silverware, they're trophies, they're great day outs, they're cups, they're silverware, they are rewards for who you are. We've been the second best team in the country for 2 years now. Absolutely. I think Liverpool's kind of returned this season to being competitive. There was a point at which people were kind of sweeping Arsenal's last season under the rug a little bit, going, yeah, because Liverpool had an off season, you kind of automatically finish second because you're quite good. But no, we've proved that wasn't the case. We are behind City. We are the best challengers to City. But I think this team, I think it's right that we start to go, where's the silverware to go with? I think at the end of a third season of being a really competitive side, which I believe next season will be, I think there has to be silverware with it. Now, when I say there has to be, what do I mean? Do I mean if we do what we did this season, which is push them to the final day, get 89 points, don't win anything, that suddenly want Mikel out? No, context is everything. We'll see what 12 months' time looks like. Maybe if we find ourselves in another position where with 7 games to go, it was in our hands, it was win your games and your champions, and then we lose another home game we shouldn't, then maybe fans start to get impatient. But it's hard to project and know what we feel like in 12 months' time with a few cup exits we shouldn't have had or whatever. I don't know, but I just feel right now we're on a great trajectory. And I'm so happy with what the team's doing. I'm so happy with the football we play. I'm so happy that we're competitive and genuinely competitive. But I'm the cups again. They're going to matter next season. That's where my expectation is kind of all in one as a season in terms of silverware, not just going the Premier League. I want it to be the Premier. I'd love it to be the Premier League, but this group deserves silverware, but you deserve it by earning it.
Yeah, he has to balance it, right? Next season. But I still want the Premier League. I think I love the FA Cup. Don't get twisted. I love it, but it's not the Premier League. Champions League. We've never won it for me to love it. But I would love it. I know I would. But Premier League is the one we've come close to now, 2 years in a row. Premier League proves who's the best team in the league, and listen, Arsenal I think the transfer window is going to be key because you are right, Jordan. Pep Guardiola, Mikel, that ain't going to change over the next 2 months, and it ain't going to change over the next 2 years. But squad wise, I look at their squad and listen, Sir Alex talked about Pep's talked about rejuvenating a winning squad is one of the hardest things to do. Now this is a winning squad, a record breaking winning squad in the Premier League. Four time winners. De Bruyne, he has been getting older, has had his injury plagued seasons. A team that now I look at Arsenal and I think we are close in terms of personnel, players, squad. Now, listen, Man City have the resources to break that wide apart again in the next 4 to 8 weeks. You know, Musiala in and a couple and a Frimpong in and a couple acquisitions that's definitely not outside of their remit. And then this is a completely different conversation. But I need us to be in that transfer window doing what we need to do. So it's not a different conversation. I need us now to be getting the players we need to get to take us over the line. I know City are going to be favourites. I say it every year. City are favourites for the Premier League. Clean. There's no with Pep in charge, especially even without Pep in charge, the resources they have, they're gonna be favourites. So it's up to us to take it from them. I just believe I've seen enough for it to happen now. Now, the transfer window for us, we entered the big boy market last year with Declan Rice, 100 million. I won't say we fought off City. There was interest there. There was a bid there, but we got what we had to do done and welcome Rice and look where we are now. We're better for it. But that can't be it. That was our foot into the big boy market. We need to now start, making ourselves at home. Getting our legs under the table and being comfy in there. We need to match them, if not better them, in this transfer window now. Because that's what it's going to have to take, because there's going to be doubts about the side's motivation next year. They've done it all that they haven't achieved is invincibles. That's the only thing they haven't, and that's not really something you strive for. It's more something that might pan out across the season. They've done everything. So if I couple that up, that in sports and in life in general, there's a certain, when you have hunger and you're going up against someone that might not necessarily have that same hunger because they've been there, done that, and they've been doing it so good for so many years now. So a slip up might occur, an eye off the ball might occur. We need to be there for it, because when it occurred for Liverpool, they ran away with the league. And I just feel like surely one or the other has to happen. Either we match them up, we get better, and we're looking at squads at the beginning of the season saying Arsenal's squad is as strong, if not stronger, because of the transfer window we've just had. I think it's very possible to see us winning the league in 12 months. Now, obviously, James is right. There will be context to it, and other cups matter too. But the Premier League is the one.
Can I ask you all a question? I'm sort of I think my general message throughout the transfer window is going to be that we need to be bringing in some top class players.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, I think, did you say, Turkish, that basically you'd be happy if we only make 2 signings, but those 2 signings are top?
Yeah.
Like, I get you. I think I'm like 2 top and like a third for squad depth or something is kind of where I am. And that's not easy to do. But my question to you all is, what do you think is more likely? That Arsenal, after what we did with Declan Rice last summer, and weirdly, there's no rumours like Declan Rice last summer or Jesus the summer before that. We normally have an idea who Arsenal's main target is. I don't really think we have that going into this window.
I think the Sesko one is quite strong. The Sesko one is quite strong. But I agree with you, though. There isn't an obvious, that's the guy. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Isak's come up quite a lot, Guimaraes. So my question to you all is, what's more likely in terms of ending up with some top class players? Is it that players that we all agree right now are, top class, go get them, that 1 or 2 of them come in, or that we sign 2 players that maybe surprise us? Now, I know that's a very vague question, so I'll give you an example. When Liverpool signed Mo Salah, because I was just thinking, how did Liverpool do it? Like, how did Liverpool beat Klopp? Well, Jurgen Klopp became, a phenomenal manager and got even better. But they signed Mo Salah, that I remember at the time people were like, okay, good player, did well in Italy and all that. But he just went on levels and became one of the Premier League greats. Sadio Mane, they picked up from Southampton, and he was coached and improved to become one of the best wingers I've ever seen in the Premier League. He was unbelievable, Mane. I think very underrated, actually. Like, what's more likely, that Saka or Martinelli, or we sign a Pedro Neto and we coach them to become that player, or that we sign a Florian Wirtz, like someone that you kind of know he's a Bundesliga champion and he's an incredible talent, and you just know, like, you've picked up a superstar. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think we need to buy now. I don't think we're in. I think we need polished, ready players come in rather than a mini project that might, yield trophies in 2 years per se.
Well,
So
no, well,
Wirtz
I agree. So sorry to cut you, Turkish. I agree, but Salah hit the ground running immediately. So I guess what I'm saying is more like, imagine we do get that output, but it's more, is it coming from a sort, like an unlikely source where we go, oh wow, we didn't, fair, or can Arsenal go and, if Man City are in the conversation for a Musiala, can we be in that? Like, that's, I guess, what I'm trying to ask. Like, are there players of a top level? And I'm actually struggling for names of players that are available.
So you're basically, so if I'm to understand your question correctly, are we more likely to go for a Neto or a Sane?
Is sort of, yeah, basically what I'm saying, that kind of thing. Yeah,
I think we're more likely to go for a Neto type player who is a good player, that's got a couple of years of good performances behind him, who has a ceiling times 2 to try and reach, rather than us going out and getting a star now. One, because I just think that the market financially, I just think is mad. I think to go and get that player that I think Turkish would like, I think you're looking at 100+ million, and there's not a lot of them that I think Arsenal would want, but also would be prepared to pay that fee for. Declan Rice, I think, was an outlier. So I don't think we're going to go and get the kind of established, hit the ground running, proven for 3-4 years at the top level type player. Now I think we're more likely to get someone that we hope can come in and do what Salah did at Liverpool. Not a world star now, but by the end of the season, you're like, wow, that guy just got 25 goals and we didn't see it coming. I probably lean towards Turkish's view that I think you probably should go for an established, certified bad boy, but I think we will end up going for someone that's got a higher ceiling sort of player.
Me personally, I think what they're looking at, we need just slightly improving. And I think that if that's the midfield player, just for instance, it is a midfield player they think was going to take us over the line, and it is someone like Bruno or something like that, I think that they're activate the clause, something like that. I think that they go for one, like Declan Rice again, and maybe something after that. Like, I think they'll look at it. If it's the forward, I think that they go big. If Mikel wants, say, that centre forward that's the 100 million, whether they're out there. There's a couple of them out there, and there, Isaac and maybe one of them. If that's the one they want, I think that they'll go for it. But I think they'll have a backup plan as well. So if that doesn't come off, there'll be something else for them to go to, like the Trossard thing. I think they've always had a backup system as well. But I look at it with Arsenal at this moment. I think if Thomas Partey would have stayed fit for all of the season, I think we would have won it. I really do. I think that but he's not going to.
He didn't look great yesterday.
Huh?
He didn't look great yesterday. To be honest,
no. I think
since the Chelsea game, he's not actually.
Yeah, because what's he done?
He's
Trinity takes you to a few games, and then you've got to, like how it is when you come back from injury. It's you get you to a certain thing, and then you've got to work hard. And I think like the fitness sort of side of it's taken its toll a little bit on him. But I think if Arsenal are to really challenge next season, I think that they're going to need someone in there. It's great that they've got Jorginho as a backup, and I'll tell you what, Jorginho or Partey becomes the El Neni of the squad. You know what I mean? That plays in the squad, but then you get that one that's going to come in, battle hard and like Declan Rice. Declan Rice has come in By the way, I don't know if you see him yesterday. Like he was very unhappy about what everything at the end of it, and I quite like that. But he's played every single minute bar one half this season. That's what you need from your mid. We've got that with our central defence. They've played virtually every game this season, but we need that midfield partnership now that's going to be bat and heart and play most of the season. So I think that if it is Bruno, I'm not saying it is, bro. I'm not saying it is, but that someone of that ilk, the Arsenal will come in and go, right, if it's 100 million, we'll have it.
Go and get it done. Lee, I'm gonna go one step further. I think it has to be Bruno. I've wanted Bruno for 6 months. I think he's the best 8, in my opinion, in the league. I think there were some brilliant 8s in this Premier League. I love Douglas Luiz. I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him into the squad. Onana, I'm slightly less keen on her than I was 6 months ago. But
I think he's more 6. When I looked at his yesterday, he was so press resistant. I just felt every time
maybe you could be right, yeah. But I like him. Paulinho, I think I think for second year in a row now, he's topped the charts for most tackles in the league. I think he's an underrated player, Paulinho. But I think Bruno's the one. Bruno is the carbon copy of Xhaka. He's he doesn't take any nonsense. He's got a lovely left foot on him. He gets you 5 to 10 goals a season. He gets up and down the pitch really well. Bruno's my number one target. But the other player, do you know who I want? There's another player that I've had in my own for about a year now that I think would really add not only squad depth, but I think can do a job in the first team. I like Mbeumo at Brentford. I think he would give Saka really good competition on the right-hand side. He's not a world superstar, but I think he's gettable. I think he can flip between, a bit like Trossard, being a really good squad player, but if you had to play him 5 games in a row, I think he wouldn't let you down. I think that would be a really shrewd bit of business if we went for Mbeumo over at Brentford. Timber's coming in, so I don't think you need a left back to bring in. He did look good. And then I think, I've said before, I would upgrade on Martinelli. I would look for a left winger. If they're being really ruthless, I would look to upgrade on Martinelli. I would even maybe retrain Martinelli as a forward. I think we should toy with the idea of maybe trying Martinelli as a frontman. That's something that I would potentially look at as well. But yeah, I don't think we need to do a lot. I don't think we need to do a lot.
I don't think we need to do a lot, but this is why I asked the question, okay? Because a super chat came in on the watch along yesterday, and they said Bruno Guimaraes and Mohamed Kudus, who, by the way, because I don't know how much he caught of his performance yesterday against City. I know he had the game on, but he was unbelievable. Okay,
brilliant.
Maybe I'm going too far, but there was just moments, not just the goal. I didn't just see a bicycle kick go and go, oh great, sign him. It was everything. He had 4 City players around it at one point, and he sort of dribbled around them. He was on fire, and I wanted him last summer. In fact, he can play off the striker, false nine. He can play out on the right. He can play on the left. I think that's some versatility we want. But also, he's really strong. He's really strong. He sort of can play with his back to goal. He can play make. He can run and beyond. He could do loads. So I was reading the super chat going, I like this. Bruno Guimaraes, Kudus. Yeah, I can see how they elevate our team. And then I just had a moment where I went, but is that better than what City have? And it's it's just that you can get really good players. You can even improve this Arsenal team. But I want us to sign someone that City really jealous of. And I think that's the one thing we did do with that Declan Rice signing. We spent the whole season going, imagine City got Declan Rice. And Kovacic is a good player and a different player. But Rice has played as a box-to-box. He could have played in that City midfield. It might have looked a bit different, but he would start for City. He's getting in teams of the season. So it's is there a Declan Rice type signing on the market? Maybe Isak, maybe. But again, that's kind of what I'm trying to say, people. It's I'm not trying to be all defeatist. Oh, well, what can we do? No, you either get the ready-made guy or you find someone who's nearly there and you make him there because that's what good coaching does. But I just don't see a clear do this where last summer I did see that a little bit more. I'm still torn over whether we need to put all our money into a 9 because I think Havertz ended well. But then do I think Havertz is over 38 games a striker to lead us over the line? Maybe. He was great in the running. Do we need that more than a winger? Can you get both? I don't know. Sesko, everyone. I was talking to someone yesterday, watched a lot of Bundesliga. They said Sesko is proper, a real talent. but I'm still nervy. You know, the last three links have been Sesko, 20 years old, João Neves, 19 years old, and Joel Hato, 18. He's like, I don't think a 20, 19, 18-year-old are going to be the additions that get us over the line. But they might be some of the best talents in Europe, and you get them in because they might be young, but they're that good.
And
don't really
Anelka
know.
did. Anelka did.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm going to be spending a lot of this summer going, oh, okay, let's work this one out. Not like with Declan Rice. I was so confident. I was like, yeah, I know where you improve.
With Havertz, it's a really interesting one, man, because people are now starting to say, "Oh, we don't need a striker," or "Do we need a striker?" I think like 3 months ago, probably everybody was saying, "Yeah, we definitely do." But if you look at it, we've scored the most goals this season, like, you know. But
I don't think we have now.
We've scored more goals than we've ever scored in a Premier League season.
We have, yeah, but I think City leveled with us.
City leveled the goal difference, and I think beat us on goals scored.
That's you know, been there, and you look at the record since January, since he's been up front, 1 defeat, 1 draw. That draw was at the Etihad. Also, a little bit annoying is that we played that game at the Emirates, in the Community Shield with him up front there, and it took us 6 months or 5 months to revert back to it. Which that's a little bit frustrating, if I'll be honest, because we all sort of see that there. But the one thing I will say yesterday, again, it was there. The chances that we create and miss at home is where we've been a little bit of our downfall. If you look at where did we lose the Champions League this season? I'll tell you where we lost the Champions League, at the Emirates. Where did we lose the league this season? At the Emirates. Why? Because we had chances and we missed them. And so I feel that we've got to address that. I think we've got to address that home form a little bit. And I do think that we're so much more ruthless away from home than we are at home. I don't know why that is. But we create a lot of chances yesterday, first 20, 25 minutes, missed them all. And so I do think that they need someone who's going to come in and be clinical. Now, it don't necessarily have to be a star. If you look back at other players in the past, Eduardo was a clinical striker for us, but he wasn't, like we'd say, a regular. Will Told. So I do think that we need to bring that player in. Now, I don't know who that is, but someone like, you know, you lay your hat on that's going to score the goals. You know, like Havertz come up tops again yesterday, scored. But I think that he enhances the way we play and the way it's all done. We drops off and everything like that. But I still feel we need that killer. Even though people will go, oh, we've scored so many goals, this and this and this and that. But I watched that game yesterday, and it's not the first time I've sat there and gone, we should be 3-0 up here. We should be 3-0 up, and we're not. And I think that when you're looking at addressing little tweaks and little things, I do believe that is it. I look back at it and go, why didn't we win the league this season? Like, 1, because Man City, but 2, 3 defeats Man City all away from home. Didn't lose at home all season. That's something that we've got to do. Why is that? Because when they're on top, bang, bang, bang. Even yesterday, bang, 1-0, 2-0. We don't do that enough as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Like, look at West Ham. We should have been home and dry in that game. Even Villa, we should have done. So I think that's something that we've got to address. And I don't know if it's going to be a starter or someone that we know that when it matters can come on. It's a very, very difficult one to do, but I think that's something we've got to address.
I think you touched on something interesting there, Lee, which is like, I think we all agree that if we'd won it, we were worthy. We were good enough, 89 points. The run was phenomenal. The way we handled the run-in. Remember what everyone was saying about our run-in, the fixtures we had? I know it's 1 defeat, which feels so damaging. But a lot of people, I think, thought that even if it wasn't to be a defeat, that there'd be a lot of draws in there. Well, we might draw at Tottenham, we might draw at United, which would accumulate to more dropped points than just a 1 bad day against Villa. So I think a lot of people kind of thought, even if we didn't lose, that there'd be kind of, more slip-ups along the way. So we handled everything brilliantly, but I didn't see a perfect team throughout the season. I didn't see, it's like we touched on it in the last podcast. 5 defeats still feels like a lot. It's 1 defeat less than last season. I think we do have to, on our off days, be more difficult to beat. When we're not at it, well, we get a point. That's what City did this season. When they weren't at it at Anfield on the back foot, they got something. And really on the back foot at Anfield, but they got something. When they're 1-0 down to Chelsea and they were conceding chances on the counter, Rodri steps up and at least claims them a point. So I think that's something. And you know, creating chances throughout the season has got better. Remember, we started the season looking quite blunt and quite, we didn't look as exciting as the season before. But now it's become more conversational. Well, the chances are there. Are we finishers? Are we able to do a lot out of nothing? I look at some of City's opening goals in this title race. Sorry, in this title run-in. Foden's yesterday, which he just takes a touch and wallops it into the top corner. And okay, some people might go, yeah, that's Foden's quality. What about Vardy at Fulham? Just like a little 1-2. I'm a centre back playing left wing. Let me just take a touch, put it onto my right foot and drill into the far corner. And you're thinking, if I had to give that chance a rating from where they kind of all started, like a 4 or 5 out of 10 chance, just nailed it to go 1-0 up. And you see that kind of goal at 3-4-0 up. The pressure's off. Let me show my quality. Like 1-0 up in the title race away from home. It's like, oh my word. I think again, that quality, that's why I like Kudus. He feels like someone who can do something out of very little. Then the Mbemo shout's interesting, but he's been injured a lot this season. Arsenal were brilliant this season. I'm so proud of the team, but I can also see where they did fall short. I can also see why we weren't champions. I just don't see so clearly in the market where that player fixes all this. So I think this is a really interesting market for Mikel and Arsenal. And I actually don't think we're going to be that active that quickly. With the Euros happening, I think that is just a distraction. I think it's hard to get hold of players for conversations. We know that it's not just something you deal with agents now. Players are a part of, the conversations and everything, obviously. I think that will slow everything down. And I think the fact that I don't think we're 100% sure what we want to do. I think that could all be a part of it as well. But what do I know? Maybe they know.
I don't think there's nothing to fix, though. That's the good position I think we're in. I think everything that comes out is the complement. So I wouldn't overthink what we had. Like, we need a striker, full stop. We've needed a striker. Like when we signed Jesus, we needed a striker. We like Jesus was never gonna have Havertz. He's worked up front, but we need a striker. And we're in a position now where we know Eddie is not the guy. It's time. Emil Smith-Rowe, it's not going to work out. Partey, it's done. Like Ramsdale, thank you. But we know there's a good few players now we can get some money for. And these were the players that essentially were meant to or have complemented the side that have been challenging over the last 2 years. So really and truly, it's about buying the right players that can both complement and push. Maybe Havertz does start the season as striker. We get a Pender in. I've liked the Pender for a long time. Maybe he starts on the bench, but he knows his challenges. When he starts, he gets goals, he starts. So maybe it's a case of being more shrewd with it. Well, not more shrewd. Arteta's been very shrewd in the window. This time last year, who thought we're going for Havertz or Timber? Everyone knew Rice was on the cards, but them two came out of nowhere. And I mean, you've talked about Gvardiol there, James. I think I see a bit of that in Timber in terms of his attacking threat, and next season that the potential he unlocks. So I think there's enough options out there. I'm just at a stage now where I've been saying this a lot recently. Arteta's bought player after player that either I didn't know enough about, I didn't believe is good enough to improve the side, or I just thought, what are you doing? And here we are, challenging or just challenged for a second title in a row. The first season of expectation, we've taken it to game week 38. So I look at Mikel and say, all right, who am I to say I want him? Because I'd like a Wirtz, I'd like an Openda, I'd like, us to go for Isak. But Arteta's shown enough now for me to be like, all right, you know best. I'm just a fan. And again, I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. As a fan, when I was younger, I didn't worry about Arsenal. I didn't say Arsenal should be going for him. I didn't, because We was doing what we needed to do off the pitch. So we was bringing in exciting talent. When Overmars and Petit was sold, I was gutted. But then Perez comes in a year later.
Mm,
You know, Youngberg's in. When Anelka left, I was gutted. Henri comes in. Don't get twisted. Davor Suker came in first, and that didn't quite, hit the ground running and so on. But the club
he
was
flopped. He flopped.
yeah,
Let's be honest. He flopped.
he flopped. But they was doing what they needed to do, and that's where I'm at again with the club. Like, I'm intrigued to find out who we signed this season. I'm excited about it. If you ask me, I'll say Isak, Florian Wirtz. Them two gives you, options to move Odegaard to the 8. It gives you options to flex with a few of the attacking players we've got now. But again,
I think you just answered the question. I think you just answered the big question. I was asking, like, who's on the market? If we did that, if we went and got Isak, who has been on fire second half of the season, can play across the front three. So if Havertz is still in great form, you can play Isak on the left, and we know that's been a problem position for us. And you've got Florian Wirtz, who, while I'm a bit of a casual outside of the Premier League, he just seems an incredible talent, as something different, changes. You talked about evolving the team, changes the dynamic. Now you've got different combinations, maybe on that right-hand side with Wirtz there, and Odegaard evolves his position, because I think he's been brilliant when he has drifted to that left 8. Suddenly I'm like, okay, I think that might be all right. I think you've just signed proven talent that can, Isak can get goals. He's shown it this season. Wirtz adds quality. You reinvented a couple of players. You reinvented the team slightly. Brilliant. 200 million.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Cool. But let's show it. Like, let's do it. Why not? Like, that would be. Those are the kind of signings. I don't know how many more options or names like that there are, but those are the kind of signings. I know Bruno Guimaraes has been mentioned. I've got to say, I'm not quite as sold on Guimaraes as Jordan, but I think he's very good. But those are the kind of players that I go, yeah, City could have wanted these players. I just don't know how many there are.
I think Turkish's point earlier on about the fact that he's, he doesn't really, he's happy to let the club do what they're doing, I think is key as well. Because I think we're talking about names here, and I think that's the key. I think they've earned our trust. They've earned our trust. This summer, I don't want to hear anybody squirming or criticizing whoever we signed, because this time last year, or maybe a bit later into last summer, when we signed Kai Havertz, most of us were like, what the hell are you doing? When we heard about David Raya coming, what the hell are you doing? And I think they've both, I think it's fair to say, have worked out, right? So I think whatever Mikel Arteta and the club decide to do, they've earned our trust. What's the face for, Lee?
David Raya.
Works out.
Oh, are you not all in?
I think it's a fair question,
David Raya. Actually, he's come out as the one that even I'm gonna say has probably, because Havertz, what I thought about him, but he's come up trumps, and I've said, you know what, credit to him. But David Raya, I haven't felt like that with him.
Well, the thing is, I
out him, and I really do.
I'm with you, Lee. I would buy a keeper. I would still buy a keeper. But the point I'm making is that Arteta would say the guy just won the Golden Glove. So technically, I've got the best keeper in the league. That's what he would say. I'm just saying that we were all a bit like, what the hell are you doing? Whereas now he's got evidence to say, well, that's what I was doing. I was bringing in the Golden Glove winner.
I even like yesterday, I've done a big critical on Raya, because I do think that he has improved us with playing out at the back and all that. But shot stopping, Calvert-Lewin has that shot yesterday that beats him. When shots he gets beat. I know it's the post, but I don't see those saving moments like their keeper did against Tottenham.
Yeah, Ortega. Yeah, match-winning saves.
He comes in, makes those two saves. I like Ray. I think very, very good. I think when we play it across the back, and I do feel very, very comfortable when he's got the ball. I don't panic when he's got the ball. When it goes back to him, I know he's made a few mistakes, but I do think that we bounce off him well on that side of him. But as shot stopping goes, I'm not convinced yet. I'm still not convinced.
I agree. I agree. I'm just making the point that that's a signing that Mikel Arteta could arguably say has worked out. If I said to you the start of next season, we're going to have the Golden Glove winner, you're going to be like, oh, okay, cool. I'll take that. You would. We all would. So he would say that transfer worked out. The point I'm making is that I just think they've earned our trust.
Oh,
I don't,
100%.
they've earned our trust.
Sorry, this good conversation. It sparked a couple of thoughts. Bailing out, we've talked about. That's on David Raya. I think we are coached brilliantly to a point where we're defending a deep block. We invite crosses well. Raya claims them. Like as a unit, I think we're coached really well to defend better and get more clean sheets. And Raya's definitely been a part of that. Raya has been an upgrade on Ramsdale, in my opinion, when you look at the whole defensive unit and you know how we've been, just defensively across all phases of the game. But yeah, bailing out's a big thing from an attacking perspective and defensive perspective. When Arteta's tactics and when he's not coached with a perfect game plan, you know, what quality comes through just to nick us a point or nick us a win. So we've talked about that a lot. I still think that's why I say it's a fair question around David Raya, because when you're on your fourth first choice goalkeeper, all right, Martinelli was only 6 months, but then Leno, but then Ramsdale, but then Raya, you know, at some point you're like, well, when are we going to get the guy that we're like, yes, he's 100%? And I think the fact that there's debate, even though I think he's very good and obviously deserves to be number one next season, and has done a lot of really good stuff this season, David Raya. And then the second thing that popped into my mind was around sales, but I can't quite remember the point I was going to make. But essentially, that might be what happens first in the window, that we see what happens with Eddie Nketiah, we see what happens with, well, we know Cedric and Elneny are leaving, so there'll be a few. I don't know. There'll be a few others. So actually, then another question popped into my mind for all of you is: are there any surprise sales you'd make? Well, I mean, is there anyone in the squad that you would entertain an offer for that you think actually they've played quite a bit this season, but
Jesus. And I'm not saying I would sell him, but your question is: would I entertain if someone knocked on the door and put an offer forward? I would listen. Whereas there's other players, I'm not listening to Saka.
How much?
I'm not listening to. I'll take 40.
Oh, it feels so low, doesn't it? I know he's injured.
We can get our money
back.
Goals. I'll take 40.
An injured striker who doesn't score goals doesn't sound great, but he just know how talented he is.
Jesus is a shout. Zinchenko, Partey would probably be other shots. Maybe not as surprising, but
I think Zinchenko and Partey. I think because for me, Zinchenko didn't once this season look like the Zinchenko of the season before. I still think he's a very talented footballer, but he hasn't once looked like the Zinchenko of the year before. So maybe Zinny, Partey. Is this a? I don't know if this is a controversial one. Would you listen to offers for Trossard?
no.
Okay, good.
Do
you know why I put that out there?
You need that type of player, man.
Just can do something out of nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
those by the way, but I wouldn't sell him like that.
Who?
Can I explain that before everyone gets so super mad? Jordan, would you? Just curious.
No.
Okay.
No.
This is why I asked the question. I wouldn't sell him because he can do something out of nothing. And in the running, by the way, if we're talking about Havertz and other players, my word, did Trossard step up.
Yeah.
The reason I asked the question is two things. A, I saw it doing the rounds on social media. I thought that's an interesting question. B, he's talented enough. I think you'd get good money for him. But also, I still feel like if people get what they want this window, Trossard isn't in their starting 11. So
no.
Well, so there you go. So then I'm like, so would you entertain it, considering he's not?
I wouldn't.
I know we need a squad. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't.
I'm just asking the question because I know
he's our Sylvan Wiltord. He's our perfect squad player. He's our perfect squad player. He's literally the epitome of a squad player for a Premier League winning team. Someone that doesn't kick up a fuss. Someone that if you have to play him for 10 games in a row because Martinelli's injured, you'd know that more often than not he's going to deliver and hold his own. But he's someone that off the bench can make an impact. He's a good age. No, I don't think he's in our strongest 11.
Next season, who do you expect to be the more regular first teamer, Martinelli or Trossard?
I've said it before. I'm not as all in with Martinelli as you three are. So I like him, but I think I don't know is my answer because I think Trossard has really, really opened up that left wing argument now for me. I mean, it might have been none of them. in my world, I would upgrade on both of them on the left,
100%.
personally. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if it definitely is Martinelli comes back into that left wing role, but I'm still not quite convinced with the idea that in a Premier League winning 11, Trossard starts. I'm still not quite there yet.
I can't forget Martinelli's 22-23 season, man. 15 goals, none of them penalties in the league. He was electric on that left-hand side.
And in this running, he should have had 5-6 goals. Like, I think it's just unfortunate. Like, yesterday he should have had a couple, I think.
Yeah. It was a weird performance out on the right. I think he did well, but he looked awkward, so I didn't love it. It was
I thought he done well. I thought he done well.
But I thought he did well without looking. It was weird. It was like he did good stuff. I never felt he looked that comfortable.
Used to him playing there, I suppose. No. You know? Saka don't miss that many games, does he? I think that was something to come out of it yesterday. But I think big summer for Martinelli. He's got, goes all the way with Brazil. I think he's got to come back. His place is not nailed on.
You know what? I'm going to go back to your initial question, James. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'd probably chuck him in there as well, in terms of a shock sell that I would listen to offers for. If a good offer came from Martinelli, I'd listen.
If 60 million from PSG came in.
I'm listening.
You're on mute.
Not 60.
I'm listening.
Not 60.
I'm listening.
Not age. 60 now.
I still think the potential of this guy. I still can't. I don't know. Something about Martinelli. I still think the potential is there. I still think. I've felt for so long that if you gave Martinelli to Jurgen Klopp, he'd be one of the best wingers in the league. The way he'd use him, that sort of flexibility to play inside out.
Does a job for the team, James.
Sorry.
It does a job for the team. He's not a selfish individual winger.
No, he's
and
not.
A lot of wingers are selfish and all that, but I think that goes under the radar. The work that he has to do. That season you're on about, he had no left back covering him. He has to do a lot of that himself, and his work rate is still very, very good. Yesterday, puts in a shift. I still think I think he'll kick on next season and be even better. I just think injuries have not helped him this season. Just think before he got injured, we was banging in 5-6 goals a game. Then he got injured. Didn't see them sort of performances again.
My fear, Lee, is that we could be seeing a repeat of Emile Smith-Rowe. Really good season we've seen in the bag. And then we keep kind of doing the whole potential. He'll come good. I like Martinelli. I want to be clear. I do like Martinelli, and I think that I'm prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt that this season the injuries have really messed him up. James has really, intelligently flagged the fact that left side has been completely changed this season. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt this season, but I just don't see the ceiling that I think everybody else sees. I see a ceiling, but I don't see a guy that I'm like, no, this guy could be one of the best in the world in 2 years' time. I don't quite see that. And that's why if 60 million was offered this summer, I think I would at least listen to it. I'd at least listen to it.
But there's debate around some players. That's why I mentioned Trossard, because you're thinking, here's a player who's brilliant in the run-in, has really clutch moments. He is that, I kept talking about bailout players. Like, he bailed us out of Wolves with a great finish and bailed us out of Goodison Park with a great finish, and has had moments like that. Got the third goal against Liverpool, albeit with a bit of luck in the deflection. But how often does he get big goals? The third at Brighton to get it, sealed, although we were 2-0. Like, he's done that quite a lot. The goal against Porto. The big goal against Porto, the equaliser against Bayern Munich. So, no, please don't get it wrong, people. I wouldn't get rid of Trossard at all. But I asked the question because I think he sits in that really interesting, like, he was really good. But I also can see that if Martinelli gets back to form, Trossard probably doesn't play. And he doesn't really fancy him in the false nine. And he doesn't play on the right. It hasn't really worked for him in midfield. So there's debate there. And I think, it's just going to be another interesting summer for Arteta. I'd be amazed if Smith-Rowe stays another summer, because he's not. I think we keep thinking the reason he's not playing is because he's injured. He's been fit all season. Yeah. He's just not playing because he's not playing. He's not I don't think we know exactly what he does in this team. He came on again and looked quite good yesterday. I actually thought some of the things he did was nice. Talented footballer in there, but we really are now at the stage of, and I'm not trying to be Mr. We only need world-class players. I'm not trying to say that. You need players that do a job in a squad. But I do think we're at the point where we are really ruthless with players. We go, okay, Do we know exactly what we're getting from everyone? Trossard, I know exactly what I'm getting from, whether he's in the squad or in the starting 11. And I think there are other players. Fabio Vieira, it's going to be a great question
I was
around.
going to mention him. I'd move him on.
Yeah.
I'd move him on.
I
Okay,
mean,
can I make one quick point? Sorry, separate point. I know we're over an hour, Turkish. I wanted to make a point about. I hear a lot of. I've not listened to the fan cams from yesterday's games yet, so I will do today. But I heard a couple of podcasts and watched a couple of live streams, and I'm hearing a lot of this talk around, Man City being great, and that's why Arsenal have just been pipped. And I think that's true. And I've been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks about what we're up against, right? Man City are brilliant. But I think we have to get to a point soon in the next couple of weeks where that talk kind of stops. And what I mean by that is, it reminds me, and you, Lee and James, will appreciate this, it reminds me a little bit of the talk around Andy Murray. And what I mean by that is people talk about Andy Murray being unlucky because he was in the era of Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer, right? I interviewed Andy Murray once, about 5 years ago. I had a bit of time with him, and I wanted to ask him a question on camera that I didn't, but I couldn't quite work out how to word it that it wasn't insulting. So I asked him the question off camera when we finished, because he was waiting for another crew as my crew were packing down to do another interview. And I asked him the question. I said, Andy, do you get really, really annoyed when people say, oh, it's really unlucky that you're in this era, and if Djokovic and Federer and Nadal weren't around, you would have cleaned up more trophies? And he said, Jordan, I hate it. I hate it. And I said, why? I knew the answer, but I said to him, why do you hate it? And he said, because it almost is like ruffling my hair. It's like little broing, as James would say. Basically, I find it a little bit insulting. If I can't win a major slam, it's because I'm not good enough. I don't have the talent of those three competitors I'm up against. And he's won 3 slams. So most guys don't win 3 slams. Let's respect that. But he's not in that category. And the point I'm making, I think the point that he was making is, you can't go through your sporting career as someone that's like, oh, but if I was around 10 years earlier, I'd have won 4 more Prems. Or if I was around 10 years later, you have to just try and be better and beat what you're up against. And when I hear Arsenal fans kind of clinging on to this, yeah, but City are great, we just have to wait for Guardiola to go, it makes me feel like we're making excuses. And whilst it's correct to say we are up against a phenomenal team with unlimited resources, with a GOAT manager at the helm, I think we have to kind of get away from this whole mentality of, but City are there, let's wait till Guardiola goes. We've just got to find a way to be better.
They didn't stop us this year, Jordan.
Sorry?
They didn't stop us this year.
We stopped ourselves.
They didn't beat us this year. We beat them and drew them, in the 2 league games. What made us fall down was home games, West Ham, Fulham and all that. We went with them toe to toe, but ultimately we messed it up ourselves, if you want to be really honest, and go from that. That's the first season for a very, very long while we've not lost both games to Man City. It's normally like they're getting doubles on us. So
I don't think they beat you in the 2 games. I think they beat you with their consistency and quality. That's what.
Yeah, because that's part of it. Like, what I mean, and I do think that. But I do think that we had it in our hands against Villa that day. Did City play the day before or not?
The day before, I think.
Sorry, I just had a. When they lost to Villa, right? Which was the last time they lost a game, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Villa Park was the last time they lost a game. I've just realised that was a midweek match, and we lost to Villa later that weekend, didn't we? It was in the same week because Villa sort of famously beat us both 1-0, and it was an unbelievable week for Unai Emery. That was our second defeat of the season. So since then, we lost to West Ham, we lost to Fulham, and then we lost to Villa again. Oh my word. I don't have a point to make. I've just realised, it's one thing going, oh, they've lost since December. And it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of crazy. But then we've lost 4 games since then in the time that they were unbeaten.
That's a lot. And even saying the 5 games that we've lost this season, I was thinking back to Premier League, the golden years. When I think about the Premier League golden years, if I'm not mistaken, and Turkish Lee, you were around in those years, 5 defeats back then was a lot of games. I mean, did Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, with the winning Prems, did we lose 5 games them times?
No.
I don't think we were losing 5 games.
We lost a couple.
3, 4?
3. Yeah, 4.
Three. When we won the title,
Yeah.
we'd lost 3 by then. Obviously, none.
But
Didn't
just
even
go back.
away from home in 2002. That
But
2001,
just going back to my earlier point, because I also hear people saying, I think one of you guys said on the last pod about, you know, we are the best team in the league this year. The table doesn't reflect. So I heard fans on podcasts saying that, and I just myself, I cringe a little bit when I hear people say that, because we're not the best team. The best team is the team that finishes top of the table. We've had a very good season, but I just think we have to get away from this Man City are around, so we have to kind of have this complex about how good we can be. We've just got to be better. And despite Man City being an absolutely irremovable force, I think we can't just rely, or we can't blame this whole, when Pep goes, we might win the league. We've got to try win the league now. I think it will feel better as well when we win it, when he's here too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've made my point correctly, but I just hear a lot of people talking about this whole, we're in the City era, what can we do? No, we can be better. We can be better.
No, that Murray, firstly, that Murray interview sounds very interesting. I might watch it back 5 years on. No, big tennis fan, and yeah, I get it's one of those where it's like I completely get it. I completely get why, for a professional and the competitor, because you don't get to where Andy Murray's got to, and you don't get to where these, you know, big teams and big managers and big players have got to, without sort of being ultra competitive, believing you can do it. It's one of those where it's like I said, City don't win the quadruple every year. If they did, then maybe you do sit back and go, oh my word, what do we do? But they're not. Like, you know, somewhere there are slip ups, and I want us to capitalize. And I think it's recognizing it. It's all, nothing is, there's always a middle ground. It's going, yeah, City are special, Pep special. But there is still so much opportunity, and I believe Arteta can get to a level at which we beat them. So let's not dwell on the fact we didn't, and let's not dwell on the excuses and just think, well, they're an immovable object. What can we do? And just find a way, because Klopp did it arguably on the back of City when they were really at their best. I mean, we talk now. I know they won the treble the last season, and I know even this season they could win a double. But I still don't think City have reached the levels of the Centurions and then the team the season after that. I still think that team with Aguero and De Bruyne and David Silva, and I still think that was the best version of Man City we've seen under Guardiola. So, and Klopp figured it out somehow. Wasn't easy. That's the task.
Yeah, and
we'll feel good if we do it.
Luckily for us, Mikel's talked exactly about the task and knowing what it takes, having been through it all and being there with the Centurions and so on. So, again, circling back to Mikel Arteta's post-match thoughts, I think he said everything that we've kind of said on this pod in some way, shape or form. He knows the challenges. He knows what Arsenal should be doing. He knows what we need to do. Agree with Jordan about the expectation thing. When City are in the league, they will always be favourites. But it does feel like our time is now. And I'm with James that trophies need to start coming in next season. But listen, this season's just ended. So we've had to look back a little bit. We'll look forward in the pods coming weekly now. Transfer window's going to open in a few weeks. We've got the Euros there as well. And then obviously Arsenal on tour in LA, United at the SoFi, Liverpool in Philadelphia. So across the summer, Fourever will be once a week, every week, transfer window based. But obviously we'll be covering all the headlines, news and all of that. Off the back of game week 38, the prediction table is finished. There it is. People, James has won it yet. We move comments of the day.
Was that it?
Is that it? You just
my comment of the day is actually very, very well timed, because
hang on, James. Where's James's star? Does James not get his star? Where's his star?
Next season. That's fine. No, I'm okay with that.
Was it next year? Okay.
But Guasta Festa said the boys should prep a guard of honor for James winning the predictions table. That will be a sight to watch. I totally agree. So we can arrange for that in the studio if you're all happy to come in.
Yeah. If you come in this Sunday, 2 p.m., we'll all be there.
Yeah. Be there, James. We'll be there. We'll be there.
Definitely won't be there at 8 a.m. I'll tell you that now, like,
well, firstly, I'm on holiday, and secondly, no. So if we can find another time.
Yeah, we will do. We'll sort it out.
And then you can invite like Sharoy, Jess, Curtis, everyone who's been a part of it. You know,
I see Shiroi yesterday, first time in a long while.
Lee Jordan. You know, I forgot what it was called. Yeah, but obviously, you know, guard of honor. You stand either side, and you just what was that called in school? Yeah, where you'd have to go through it, and everyone would just batter you going through that tunnel.
Get rushed. Yeah. We called it rush tunnel in my school. Rush tunnel.
Like that, yeah. Like that. Let's
I'll
do
take
that.
the star, thanks.
Just batter him all the way through.
Yeah.
But here is the table for a few more seconds. James.
Well done, James. Value
Walk
deserved.
that. Oh,
Didn't I say
3-1
3-1
yesterday as well, didn't you?
sorry.
You predicted 2-1 yesterday.
No, I actually said 2. So I said 2-0 on this show,
Oh, 2-1.
and then I'm not. I'll give myself credit. I perfectly predicted how the day was going to go, and I had to clip it up and show you all. But hey ho, it is what it is. We take it. 43 points. I want to look at the other winning tallies as well, because 5 correct scores.
That's quite impressive, to be fair.
I mean, this might be Centurion level stuff, so we need to. I also think we should have other games we do. So there's the prediction table, and other trophies on the line. So you can win a double or a treble, and we add a few other elements. That could be fun. Maybe when we're doing like predictions for the cups or something, we do a different game. I don't know. Is everyone up? We can.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
Can we remove the dock points for being late and reset?
Next season.
No. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, with dock points, where would we be? That's a good point. Where would
Yeah, it's true. I'd definitely be third or second.
Turkish would have quite
1 point deducted all season. 1 point, Jordan. You'd be on 33, mate. I know where you'd be.
I've had a good 5 points deducted. I know that.
Yeah, you probably had a few.
I've had a few. Yeah, I've been stitched out basically.
I've had about 6. I've had about 5, 6, definitely. Maybe 7, 8.
Fair.
You deserve to show though. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh yeah, I've had those points deducted, but I don't turn up, and I feel it's all right. You know what I mean? While we're all hanging around.
You have some cheek. You was actually late today as well, but I've let you up.
Yeah, we left it.
I've just left it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Scumbag put in the putting the link at 2 minutes to 8. You know what I mean? Like, and I think you absolute scumbag. You know what I mean?
Just learn to copy and paste, Lee. Just sit at your laptop. The link will come through. You copy it, you paste it, and you're in.
It comes through on my phone. It don't come through on my laptop.
Oh, John.
Email it to yourself.
Yeah.
Huh?
Email it to yourself.
Email?
Yeah. Don't take the piss now, you horrible bastard. You know what I mean? Yeah?
You can carry a pigeon into your laptop.
There was a time that used to come on about 1:45, and you can get everything done. Now it's like I'm sitting there today thinking, is he going to get up? Or is he going to be here? It's unprofessional. It really is. You know what I mean?
Is he going to get up? Is he going to be here?
Well, we should have a Fourever Arsenal awards, which I'm sure we will from like a Arsenal perspective, but just from the 4 of us perspective, I think most improved punctuality, Turkish.
Oh yeah, he wins that 100%.
What a turnaround! No, hold on. In October, there were serious thoughts. Do we have to get rid of him?
Yeah,
and now here we are. It's incredible. We didn't know if he was going to make it. To the end
it really
of the
was.
season.
I'm definitely I'm interrupting a lot less. So I should get an award for like
Yeah.
Do you know what we should do? We should open up the prediction table to the fans and the comments. So there must be a way of like including if people want to join like our league, and we have like a Fourever Arsenal league, and I don't know, there must be a way of doing it where we can encompass other people's predictions.
That's your job next season. Tally up the users.
I mean, anyone wants to do that. There must be like an app or something where we can just have a leaderboard, or I don't know.
Or
I'll take it back.
Yeah, we could do that. Or people can post people can post in the comments their score, and anyone who agrees with it just hit the like, and we'll go with the most liked score.
There you go. Sorted.
Something like that.
Yeah, but we like our comment section. Now you're gonna have it flooded with scorelines. No, don't listen to them people.
Yeah,
Just
you're
No,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
true. All right, yeah.
Sorry.
Don't
Got
listen
that.
to
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah, shut
He
up,
might
Jordan.
have been
Let's
doing
go.
James Murray, but we don't want him doing anything else.
Lee, what's been your favourite part of the podcast this season? Give us your highlight.
The ending. I've loved every minute. Do you know what? I'm going to be really honest when I say this now. I got up this morning, a bit hungover, feel really tired and all that. And I thought, oh, God, how am I going to get through this? And I'm lively now. I'm really energised. So that's what this podcast does to me, like, you know. So, yeah, I say like that was the highlight for me has been all the fun that we have and laughs and everything like that. It's really
Michelle in the bathroom, man.
I love the banter. I do love the banter.
Michelle in the bathroom is
that
you're right,
was the
Kirk.
highlight.
That is
With an iPad.
only for 6 months later, Lee to end up on the bog on an iPad.
Yeah.
And there was the one when I bashed my head as I was trying to run and I got a bit dizzy. But yeah, it's all been fun, and it's all been fun.
Yeah, I think some of your pronunciation.
Yeah, I've got to improve on that. I'm going to go to lessons.
Fruition is one of the best words I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Not it's
You know
like
what, people still come up to me and say that now, like, you know.
Fruition.
What about you, Jordan? What's your highlight?
I think the highlights are definitely the comments. Some of the comments, well, some of them are awful. Some weeks they're really bad. Like you should delete them. But there are some really good, quite clever ones. What's been the highlight?
Did you see the one in the latest vid, which was Ange Highline for life, Jordan highlights for life?
I did see that. Yeah, I did see that one. Yeah.
It's so cheap.
That's up there. That's up there. Next season we should do like a top 5 comments at the end of the season. We should literally just vote on our comment of the year.
If you watch back every episode and then just filter through all the best ones.
Yeah, busy summer.
That actually shouldn't be that difficult to do, really. Going back and finding a lot. I might do that.
Someone else can do that. Bro, I got work. Is anybody else? Are we done?
I thought he was mid. Yeah, I think he was mid.
Sorry. Greatest moments.
Jordan just went, I've got another shift. Can we sack this off?
Midway through thinking about his greatest moment.
Yeah.
Greatest moment, his girlfriend comes in, like, that's a great one, right?
You know what? She thinks she's a bit of a star now. She's getting a bit too big for her boots now. She thinks she's a bit of a star on the pod. And I'm like, just relax.
You know what though? The pace at which Jordan realizes. She strolls in, waves at the camera, and he goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delayed reaction. I think Kaka Havertz is definitely a highlight.
Kaka Havertz is good.
I think
misquote on that one. But
creating, I think am I in a good space now was a highlight.
That was funny.
Oh, that was fun.
Am I in a good space? And the
was
balls,
it this season or last season when Jordan used to end the podcast and just start like making his way to work before we'd even done? And he'd just be like, so totally rounding off, and you just see,
yeah, he just on the way out.
He'd end every podcast on his way to work. You'd see him on the train, rounding it up.
You know what I'm gonna do? People, community. I'm gonna pin a comment in the chat, in the comment section below. Leave your favorite moments of the year on the Fourever Arsenal podcast under that pinned comment. And maybe we'll pull out the winner. Hit the like button on the suggestions, people, and maybe we pick out the winner like that. And just in time, there we go. Jordan.
Sorry. Just a better challenge. Can the viewers clip up like a montage of our best moments of the season?
A better challenge, yeah, a better challenge. Go on.
He's always wanted to beat it, isn't he? Like, he's always wanted to beat
It's not a competition.
He just went, no, that's shit Turkish. Actually,
No, I wasn't saying that.
That's shit, mate. Here's a better challenge.
I wasn't saying that.
he's a better one.
I didn't even fucking set a challenge. I just said leave your thoughts in the comment section below. He said there's a better challenge.
Oh shit! You know what? I'm done. You know what? I'm gonna shut up.
Nah, you gotta say it now. I want to hear the challenge.
No, that was it. I think if a viewer who's got a bit of time on their hands and is quite tech savvy can clip up a montage of our best moments this season, that would be great, and send it in to us.
What's your email?
I put my email in the comments. But if they can send it into us,
there as well, people. Send it to that email.
Don't send it to me because it'll never get done. Right?
But we still got do that, people. Leave your thoughts under the pinned comment and take on the challenge there from Jordan.
Last highlight. What was the thing that someone sent? It was to do with Breaking Bad. Do you remember? And then someone. Do you remember someone sent it to me on Instagram? I'm going to need to go through Instagram to find it, but someone sent something to me on Instagram. We talked about something being like from Breaking Bad, and then they sent us.
Oh, yes. You're right.
What was it?
It was like a reenactment, or it was somebody said something on the pod.
Was it was it like the Walter White line where he's like, I'm Heisenberg or something? What was it? Or
I don't remember, but it was genius.
Yeah.
We were wetting ourselves, yeah.
You have to go through and find it because I remember we were talking about it, but I haven't.
It was brilliant.
Message us if you put together that piece of work because that was funny as well. Yeah.
Listen, people, hopefully we're on 1,000 likes now because we're an hour 26 minutes in. It wasn't meant to be as long as this, but we let the conversation flow and we still got comments of the day to do. So hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed. Obviously, still a lot of content coming out thick and fast throughout the summer. Who wants to go? I'll go first from David, saying it was from the Invincible podcast, but I thought it was hilarious. Lee Judges created another new word, factical, when talking about VAR. I think I have some factical points for you.
I missed that one. Factical.
You're incredible.
I've got this body's first class. There you go.
Nah, I'm second in this prediction, Dave.
I've got one here from Miranda. A true pleasure watching you guys each week. Love the banter and all things Arsenal. Here's to a fulfilling next season.
You scumbag, Lee. You are a real low life. Like you just
what have I done now?
Just admit it. You didn't have a comment of the day. Just admit it.
Honestly, I've got two of them here.
Game week 38, nothing's gonna happen. Just admit it. You just done that now, please.
Just be honest, Lee.
I've done it about 20 minutes ago.
The integrity of the show's on the line here, man.
No, not at all right, no.
Oh God.
Found that one.
Who's up next? If you listen, Jordan James, if you haven't done it, just say you haven't done it.
No, I haven't got one. I haven't got a comment this week, but I do want to I've bumped into a few people recently that love the show. So I won't name you individually, but big up all the people that have passed on their kind comments about our show. But no comments from me. Sorry.
I was also looking for it on the show where I saw the Guard of Honor and the highlights for life. So they were one I agree with and one made me laugh. So there you go.
Oh shit! You didn't hear
I was talking a lot about it like the last game because we was talking about that. So, but I did go for them.
What you say?
What?
Well, because the pod was basically predicting the Everton game was a little small, just bite-sized one, wasn't it? Like comments were talking about what the score is going to be and whatever, and of course we know that it's not there.
Yeah, only 538 to choose from.
And the rule was, I don't know if you don't remember, we'll have to go back, but if you miss comments of the day in game week 38, it's minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. It's minus 8 on the prediction table.
Damn. Okay, more punished than Forest and Everton here.
Ali, we've got another star each, son. We've tied it for the title.
I feel like Man City here. Please.
I'm sure I'll be in the building next week. Don't worry about that. Like,
You will.
Listen, it's been a pleasure, lads. It's not goodbye. It's the end of the season, but we will be back next week, people. Next week, it'll be very transfer window orientated. We'll have a talk between us. Because the transfer window doesn't open till the first week of June. We have talked a bit about transfers today. Maybe we do an end of season quiz, end of season special next week. We'll have a talk amongst ourselves. But listen, if you're subscribed with the notification bell on, you'll already be here. Content is still coming out thick and fast. Forever Arsenal will still be coming out throughout the summer. So rest assured, people, you will see us four on your screens at least once a week, every week, with maybe a couple specials in there, and hopefully a live show. Keep up to date by following the socials, making sure you're subscribed. Like I said, we'll be back next week. Love to James, love to Lee, love to Jordan. This has been Forever Arsenal. Love for the love. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Peace. We're out.